You know, I love that music. Welcome in to another edition of the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. You're watching Daily Dive. It is Monday, January the 13th, 2025. I'm your host, Michael Carvelis in Guyton, Georgia. Boring Guyton, Georgia. Producer Joe is behind the scenes in back-to-back 4-0 snowing Banditland, New York. We are live on 12 on Sports via YouTube, X, and Roku. Subscribe to the 12 on Sports channel on YouTube for other great shows and live sports. All right, on today's awesome show here on Season 3, that looks horrible, here on Season 3, we are going to get into game recaps, 7 games. Means we got 7 things to talk about in the first segment. We're also going to get into a breakdown of the Rock and Bandits, which has made its rounds on social media because the NLL is moving up. Also, we're going to get into 3 stars of the weekend and a bonus segment. I'll just call it radio because it makes sense if you've ever seen that movie. Okay, that's just mean. It's mean to me, but who cares? Alrighty. Before we get started, though, this awesome show is presented by tickets.12onsports.com. That's tickets.numbers12lettersozsports.com. Get your National Lacrosse League tickets for less by going to that website. The website includes every sport, including NFL playoffs, and, of course, all your favorite artist concerts, because we all love music, not to mention Broadway and theater. Tickets.12onsports.com. Let's get into it. Game recaps, and yes, that is Zach Belter laying down. But we're going to get into that later. Alrighty. First game that went off, and we're going to talk about here, is the Ottawa Black Bears walking into Georgia in front of like 50 people. I'm not kidding. There was like 3,500 tickets sold or whatever it was. And like 50 people showed up. There was a winter storm. Listen, that's way north of me. It's not fair. They even canceled the Hawks game the next day. So I don't know if the NLL was like playing with fire there. No offense. But like, I feel like it was weird that the Swarm played and the Hawks didn't the next day. That was just interesting fact to me. Regardless, the Swarm didn't show up either. Black Bears did. Jeff Teat played well. He had a hat trick and 5 assists. And the Black Bears were down early, but not by much. They kept themselves in striking distance. And then in the third and fourth quarters, said screw it. I think they won like 14-10, something along those lines. Yeah, 14-10 Black Bears. And guys, the Swarm in back-to-back weeks have lost home games to Rochester and Ottawa. Disgusting. What's also disgusting is having no music inside of an arena. You know who I'm talking to. Okay, next up, the Buffalo. Wow, what a game. The Buffalo Bandits beat the Toronto Rock. Again, scheduled programming here, 15-13. You know what's very interesting about this game, which I'm going to get into in the next segment, by the way. This thing was great. I said to a few people watching with me during the game, I was watching with them. That sounds mean when I say they're watching with me. Regardless, I told them, I said, guys, Toronto is literally never going to beat this team. It's just not going to happen. I can't explain it. I told you guys last playoffs the Bandits came back in the second half. This game, the Rock had them dead to rights for a lot of the game. And Elijah Gash did what he did, and the Bandits still won. It makes no sense. It keeps happening. It's crazy. More on that in a bit. Vancouver Warriors in the final game on Saturday beat the San Diego Seals 11-9. Okay, and this game was not just about the Vancouver Warriors. Keegan Ball that's not even fair. Had a sock trick with an assist and 2 loose balls. He became the 4th player in National Lacrosse League history to score 6 goals in one game, or in one quarter. Last guy to do it was obviously Dane Dobie, who had like 7. But yeah, 6 will do it. And Warriors came back and beat the Seals in a game that I went how I thought it would, being the final score, but it was like I was surprised the Seals were leading and allowed that to happen. That was weird. All right, first game on Saturday. It was awesome to see 6,940 fans in Philadelphia because this game was at 1 o'clock. And a lot of times the NLL games are in the evening time. I kind of like the 1 o'clock game, and the fans showed up in that game. Could it be because the Wings are good this year? Maybe. Could it be because of Brandon O'Neill? Possibly. Could it be because Joe Terrace had on a Daily Dive beanie? Sure. But I think 1 o'clock could be a sweet spot on some Saturdays. Why not get the game out the way early? The traffic is less going home. I don't mind it. But Wings rallied to beat the Roughnecks 13-11 and cover the 1.5. Thunderbirds. Wow. Hell of a game. You'll notice if you're watching the show live or even the replay, not on Spotify, obviously, Connor Fields is wearing a 90s jersey. It's like blocked out by the stupid timer thing. But Connor Fields, he scored a hat trick. It was a great game. And I really thought Rochester would win, but Halifax's offense showed up. Drew Hutchison, he allowed 18 goals. He still had a really good game. And for Rochester, I don't know why Mike Hazen benched Riley Hutchcraft for so long. Although that was a very, very dumb decision. Good Lord, Producer Joe, that is brutal. If you're reading the tickers, good gracious almighty. Anyways, Rochester, at the buzzer, Clark Peterson won 19-18. I want to say again, I keep harping on this point. We got to make it to where if the ball is crossing the net, if you score a goal, if the ball is still in the air, there is no reason why the clock sounding off halfway through the air should stop a buzzer beater. That's so dumb. If you get the shot off and it's a ball in the air that goes into the back of the net, you should not worry about the shot clock violation. Give me a break. Still a great buzzer beater by CP24. Saskatchewan beat the Dogs, LOL. And the Colorado Mammoth beat the Firewolves, who blew an 8-1 lead. It's last year I said they would win 3 games. They didn't. Why couldn't I have said that this year? Albany, good. That is so bad. How many 5-goal leads you have to blow, Glen Park? That's what I want to know. Until you start fixing something. That defense in the fourth quarter has been trash. That's a topic for another day. All right, that's a lot. When we come back, let's talk Toronto Buffalo, because holy crap, everyone loved it, and so did I.
Don't go anywhere. Daily Dive will be right back.
Need tickets to that next event? Well, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got them with soccer anywhere in the world. Tickets to any venue, any sport. Want to go to NCAA or NFL football matches? We've got them.
Yeah.
Baseball at every level. Every Power 5 matchup is available. Don't forget, costumes and paint are optional. What's that? You want to go to Broadway? We have those too. Want to jam out? Every concert, every artist. That's right, at 12 Ounce Sports, we've got the tickets for less. 12ozsports.com/tickets. That's 12ouncesports.com/tickets.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, At MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
America, get back on track with Dust Pod's Performance Stabilizer. When applied to roadways, it kills dust and strengthens the integrity of the road. Easily applied by mixing with water, Dust Pods is the future in polymer stabilization. Call 1-833-DUST-PODS or visit dustpods.com today.
Daily Dive is back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
By the way, we're going to milk this whole Bandits rock game because tomorrow, I'll just say it now, we have Steve Bermel, the Bandits color guy, on the show, so stay tuned for that. But I also want to let you know that for now, we do have an audio-only podcast version of this show. Head to Spotify and search Daily Dive, where a lot of you are doing the Lord's work over there. We appreciate you so much. By the way, Dan Lomas of I think he goes on Back of the Bird. He said on Twitter that the Georgia Swarm, the same person who counts block shots, were counting the Swarm's attendance. That was like Jesus mother. All right, let's get into this now. The Buffalo Bandits beat the Toronto Rock 15-13. First of all, Connor Farrell had a really good game on the face-off dot, and that was awesome to see. I mean, T.D. Erlin's been out the entire season, I feel like, at this point, ever since he got hurt in the preseason game. He was really good. Matt Vince was not. Matt Vince had like 24 saves, I believe, which compared to the first 3 games of the season is not great. He had like 24 saves and allowed obviously 13 goals. It shows how much the Bandits were soaking up. Ian McKay, and I'm getting to the big part, by the way, don't you worry. Ian McKay, whose stepfather passed away this week, with his mother in the crowd this week, scored 5 goals, 3 assists, 9 loose balls, and 3 caused turnovers. For those wondering, that will make one of the 3 stars of the weekend. Ian McKay with a great game. Dane Smith was Dane Smith. Josh Byrne was Josh Byrne. Wow. I want to first discuss the referees in this game, because it'll build up to the bigger picture where Barstool checks in or enters the chat. In the first half, I was, along with listening to Teddy and Pat on the TSN/ESPN Plus broadcast, I was listening to John Gertler and Steve Bermel on WGR 550 for reasons I'll get into in a couple segments. But John Gertler was even saying, man, these refs, they're ruining the flow of the game. And I don't know if Teddy and Pat mentioned it. I don't know if they're allowed to technically on ESPN. I'm not sure if that's a thing or not. But John Gertler did, and he's a legend in the sports broadcasting world. So I feel like I can say that with more of a heart, with more of my chest now, that they really, really were bad. If it helps you, that game was on Friday evening. The next evening, they were in Rochester for Rochester versus Halifax. The Chris Williams and then Ferguson, the 2 referees, they also had the flow of that game on a weird angle, just to let you know. But in the second quarter of this game, I understand the Rock's entire thing was they were going to try to rough it up, and that was the only way they could win, so you have to set the tone early. I'm okay with that if every single thing is not a penalty. Like, it gets annoying. There was I believe 2 players wanted to fight in the first half. I believe it was Nick Weiss, and I think Billy Hostreiser wanted to fight in the first half. Refs wouldn't let him. And then they let 2 people fight. It wasn't who you think it was, though. It wasn't those 2 guys. Elijah Gash, who is the son of former NFL player Sam Gash, former Super Bowl champion Sam Gash, who I believe, if I'm not mistaken, his brother is a boxer of some sort. Elijah Gash blindsides, I believe it was Nick Weiss, he blindsides a player, and Zach Belter, this was rough. Zach Belter attacks Elijah Gash. The gloves start flying. The helmets start flying. Elijah Gash has a smile on his face, grabs the chest of Zach Belter, and Twitter will tell you the rest of what happened. Because that was... I've watched a lot of NLL games in the last 3 or 4 years. That was impressive. And for those people who are trying to say, oh, well, he got knocked out. Guys, come on. If you fight in any sport, if you get knocked out, it's okay to be pumped up for Elijah Gash in that moment. It is okay to say, hey, great knockout. Well, the other guy's hurt. Guys, first of all, concussions, they're bad, but let's not act like they're like the guy's he's gonna be okay. But I'm like, you can't attack a player, engage in a fight, and I'm supposed to feel sorry for you when you get knocked out, okay? It just happens. But maybe the bar still have fun with that. I love the fact that so many fans of other sports were saying, yo, what is this? I didn't know lacrosse could do this. And it goes to my bigger point about Paul Rabel. When they talk about pro lacrosse, and then all these fans, all they see is that field stuff. It's so much softer than what the cinematic stuff that this was. And that's another thing that's frustrating for me, is that it's good because the fans are now seeing it like in its full form, but it's like all these fans are being turned off before they can get to this point. So I love when Barstool, and even Brett Fruit commented on this too. He was like, guys, I know the fight happened, but there was also 17,000 fans there, etc., etc. So I love that Brett Fruit was vocal about it. Then some Barstool guy trying to chirp at him, give me a break. But it was great. Fantastic game. Fantastic game. Again, I don't know how the Rock keep losing these games. But it's like they had one formula, and that was to get into the band's skin. They did that. They still lost. It's impressive. It really is. Nick Rose, I thought, played well until he didn't. The Rock kept him at arm's length the entire game, and then Buffalo stayed around, got what they needed to do, and Ian McKay couldn't have written the script any better, man. He was very vocal about the week that he had on Instagram, and then came through with this kind of a game. Special stuff in Banditland. I believe there were some fan fights, and a lot of people on the Facebook group chats were saying they haven't seen a game like that in a while, if ever, where so many fans were like going at it. I think a few people got kicked out, which I'm sure happens every game. There's at least 10,000 people, but it was an emotional game. Again, I don't like the fact that what the referees did early, but I like that they let Elijah Gash and Zach Belter happen, because that was a big moment for the sport. And Bandits are 4-0, and to put it in the eyes of one commenter, which I'll wrap it up with this, the commenter said, LOL, this is you guys' best moment of the season. Enjoy 0-5. Well, yeah, it was. Shout out to The Rock for saying let the bodies hit the floor. That was very clever. And shout out to Teddy Jenner on the call. What a call from Teddy Jenner. Oh, with a heavy right and another right. Teddy was fantastic. All right. Bandits get a big win, though. When we come back, it is time for 3 stars of the weekend. And I keep saying it, stay tuned for a bonus segment at the end. This is Daily Dive. We'll wrap it up kind of next.
Don't go anywhere. Daily Dive will be right back.
You need tickets to that next event? We've got them. That's right, tickets.12ozsports.com. Get you to any sporting event, concert, theater event that you can think of. And the promo code 12OZ or ROME gets you an additional discount. Don't feed the massive ticket corporate machine. Go to tickets.12ozsports.com and enjoy the show. America, get back on track with Dust Pod's Performance Stabilizer. When applied to roadways, it kills dust and strengthens the integrity of the road. Easily applied by mixing with water. Dust Pods is the future. And polymer stabilization. Call 1-833-DUST-PODS or visit dustpods.com today.
What up, everybody? It's producer Joe, the baddest daddy in producing history, here to tell you all about the baddest, daddiest merch store. Go to the link tree in the bios of either our IG or Twitter, and from there you can access merch for the only Monday through Friday live lacrosse talk show on the internet. I repeat, the only Monday through Friday live lacrosse talk show on the internet. We got hoodies for when your girl comes over and wants to cuddle. Just don't let her take it when she leaves. How about a baddest daddy cap for when you lie about how much you hate Mike in this show, but you're still here? We've got beanies so you can do that in the cold too. Guys, what's going to happen when all these moms see you dropping your kid off at practice in this thing? Want to sip like a daddy and feel like a baddie? Check out that mug. 6-time NLL champ Johnny T and savior of my Buffalo sports childhood knows what I'm talking about. Guys, I'm really going to need you to start buying shit because I'm getting sick of doing Instacart. But yeah, go check it out so you can start repping and supporting the brand. Producer Daddy out.
Daily Dive is back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Heck yeah, we are. Welcome back. Reminder, Bandits fans for sure, when you're at your next game, make sure to get your ticket. Make sure. Wow, let me just read it verbatim because that was horrible. Okay. So when today's show ends and you are getting tickets for your next game, buy them for less at tickets.12onsports.com. Tickets.numbers 12 letters ozsports.com. You won't regret seeing things live, knowing you have your tickets for a great price. That's a lot better. It is now time for a Monday tradition here. 3 stars of the weekend. And I'm telling you, I want to first thank the Twitter followers for engaging in this. I've been doing a question the last couple of weeks saying, who do you think they are? Or who are your 3 stars of the weekend? Let's see what you got. Let's see what I have. My 3rd star is going to be Connor Kelly. 5 goals, 2 assists, and 1 Lucy was good enough for Colorado to beat the Albany Firewolves in what became a high-scoring game in the end. But Connor Kelly had 2 of the last 4 goals for Colorado or something along those lines. Ian McKay. 5 goals, 3 assists, 9 Lucies, and 3 caused turnovers. He was a menace on both ends of the floor in a very emotional game. You're like, well, who could it be? 1st star, Keegan Ball. I mean, how could it? I'm surprised no one mentioned Keegan Ball. They probably were either A, not up for that game, or B, just forgot it happened. 6 goals in 1 quarter, 1 assist and 2 loose balls to single-handedly bring the Warriors back against the Western Conference foe, the San Diego Seals. And you're like, well, Mike, okay, this point the show's over. Well, usually it is. But because we love you so much, we have a bonus segment for you here. So, if you didn't check the Twitter or were unaware of what I was plugging, WGR 550 in Buffalo, / Western New York, offered me / John Gerler offered me to come on radio at halftime of the Bandits and the Rock. And I thought it was fun and appropriate, and producer Joe did too, that we share this on the show for those that missed it. It was so fun with John and Steve. Obviously, I'm having Steve on the show on this show tomorrow. Thank you to John, Steve, the producer Trevor, the Bandits, and WGR for this experience. It's my first ever interview outside of, in the lacrosse realm where I'm not the one giving the interview. It was kind of cool. So in case you missed it, here's credits to WGR 550 producer Joe. Please keep that on the screen the entire time. Without further ado, here it is.
That runs Daily Dive Monday through Friday, 1 o'clock Eastern. Lax Talk. It's the only Lax Talk show on the planet. Mike. Cavalis, good to have you on the air. Thanks for waiting so long. I told him 8:15.
Yeah, it was ever since like the first part of the game started with like the short 8 seconds, I knew we were in for a doozy of calls.
Mike, give us a rundown of your show. You created it last year, or actually 2 years ago. This is your third year. You're the only guy that has Lacrosse Talk on the planet Monday through Friday. How do you think it's been received so far?
You know, that's a funny story. So 12 Ounce Sports, 12ozsports.com. I've been on that network for for 6 or 7 years, and seeing how I started, I'll be honest, like I'm a newer box lacrosse fan, as I've been very transparent about. But seeing people change from going like, who is this guy, to seeing like me actually have big guests like yourself and Steve Berman on, etc. It's been really wild to look at how people have bought in slowly.
Mike Cavalis joining us here at halftime on the Nissan Hotline. He is the main man of the Daily Dive. Runs Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Mike, how do people follow your show? What's the platform that they should follow on 1 o'clock every Monday through Friday?
Oh, it's definitely we're on socials at Daily Dive LAX, but we're broadcasted on 12 Ounce Sports, which is 1, 2, and then the letters OZ Sports, that YouTube channel. So if you search them up, you'll definitely see the show every day at 1 o'clock. Sometimes I wait a minute because I'm got to get the graphics together real quick with producer Joe. But yeah, it's 1 o'clock on 12 Ounce Sports.
Mike, what's your perspective of the league so far?
This year?
Yeah.
This year it's been great. Series have been really good. Like, seeing them as dominant as they've been, albeit 3 games, has been crazy. But I think the league has got a lot of parity, and I wish we could get the fighting. I don't know if you guys are going to touch on this during halftime or not, but I feel like there's not been a lot of fighting this year. I feel like Host Strauser and Wiesberg about to throw down, and we didn't get that. But other than that, it's been a great year so far.
Mike, we talk about the success that Buffalo has had so far this year, and although the record doesn't show it, it's always felt like Toronto was a team in this league that was in the same echelon as the Bandits. And now through a half hour of lacrosse, that's seeming to be the case. I mean, Toronto up 8-7. This is the only team thus far that's really been able to take the lead against the Bandits and hold it for any amount of time. Despite the records, these are 2 pretty evenly matched teams.
So while I do agree, like obviously these 2 teams love to play each other and that like they obviously match up well, I think that early on the Rock's game plan might have been to like rough it up a little bit, in my opinion. I feel like the Bandits have more back-breaking goals to me right now, which could go well for them in the second half. Because like Rock, I feel like controlled the first half, and yet they only lead by 1. So it is interesting to see how they have controlled the game. I feel like the Bandits are still like a superior team despite being down by 1.
So what's Toronto have to do to close it out then? Because we've seen Buffalo, like that game in Rochester in the second half, the Bandits just, an 8-1 run in the fourth quarter to run away. So if you're right that Buffalo is maybe still in control of this game despite being down 1, how does Toronto make sure they don't lose this game?
Keep on passing around and spreading the wealth on offense. Challen Rogers has not taken a lot of shots from what I can tell watching it, just like off the bat. And then like they seem like they're spreading the wealth a lot, which is awesome. You got Gallick in there, you got Corey Small. So as long as they keep doing that, it might keep the Bandits guessing a little bit more than they have to.
Mike Cavalis, our halftime guest here on the Nissan Hotline, here from the KeyBank Center in downtown Buffalo, where the Toronto Rock hold an 8-7 lead over the Bandits. Seesaw battle back and forth. Toronto 2 for 5 on the power play. Buffalo going to the third quarter of play with a power play, so they stand 0 for 3 so far. I'll talk that. Mike, who's been your most interesting guest so far in the 2.5 some odd years that you've done Daily Dive?
Interesting guest has probably been I'm gonna go with Joe Resetarits because we finally had him on. We do a segment every Tuesday called Fresh Fits, where I break down the walk-ins of what players are wearing, and he was voted by fans last year as the winner. And this year, literally on Tuesday of this week, we just had him open up a basket of merchandise. So that was pretty fun. That went on for 25 minutes. That was pretty awesome.
8-7 our score. Toronto over Buffalo here at halftime. KeyBank Center in downtown Buffalo on the Nissan Hotline. Mike Kravalis of Daily Dive, Monday through Friday, 1 o'clock Eastern. It's the only lacrosse talk show on the planet. Michael, what's been the reaction of your viewers and fans so far of your show?
This year, it's been awesome. Like I said before, I've been doing podcasting for a while. This year, 2024, now is lacrosse fans have been the greatest I've been a part of. Everyone has an NBA show, everyone has an NFL show. Lacrosse fans are craving content and they're craving discussion. And I've got a whole bunch of loyal people that follow and interact, which makes it really awesome. Our social media manager and my producer is literally fans of the show. So it's I love seeing it. It's kind of surreal at this point. It's still growing, but definitely the fan reaction is something I've really enjoyed, from Buffalo fans to regardless of who they are.
And Mike, what would you like to see in this game today? What would you like to see in the play, whether it's a 4-on-4 or an overtime shootout or anything that you have come up with just following this game and the time that you have?
A penalty shot to win the game, if that can happen. I'm not sure if it can happen, but I feel like if we get Dane Smith on Nick Rose, I think that'd be kind of fun.
17,240 fans on hand here tonight at KeyBank Center. Steve, a rundown from Mike. What do you have? What do you got?
For Mike or for the first half?
For
or
Mike.
both? For that?
Yeah, talk to
Well,
Mike.
Mike, I have to tell you that, you're doing a great job, and I appreciate you having us on the show. And listen, I'm not afraid to say you're not afraid to say something that might stir the pot a little bit. I know maybe you and Christian Del Bianco have had a couple of interactions. And, hey, before Buffalo finally got the championship, you were a little hard on Dane Smith, right? Hey, you got the MVPs.
Yeah.
Hey, now he's back-to-back. So, as the Buffalo guy right now, you have to eat a little crow sometimes.
Well, what's funny about that is when I originally said that he was my regular season MVP that year, I had just randomly looked it up one day being a newer fan. He's actually lost 2 or 3 championships. I was kind of surprised that I had never heard anyone talk about it. But obviously from that moment I said that, he went berserk in those final games. And obviously last year they were dominant and won it again. So I love it when Dane Smith plays well. I love when the Bandits do well. I think it's great for the league. But yeah, the story behind that is definitely a little bit of an overreaction from the fans. But it was fun to see what they've done the last 2 years for sure.
What do you hear, Mike? Any rumblings at all with respect to what the league is doing? Anything in expansion or any ideas that you can pull out from those that you have spoken with or on the outside, saying, here's a city that might be interested, but on the other hand, here's a city that needs a little help and maybe get a little push in selling tickets and whatnot like that, because the product is so good. Once you get the butt in the stands, the people love this game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I believe people are going to fall in love with the box lacrosse game. And by the way, in Georgia right now, it looks like there's 30 people there. That's because we have a winter storm warning throughout the entire north of Georgia, just so people know. But I'm still waiting on to see if St. Louis ever becomes a thing. Because I believe Kurt Hunter, somebody in the front office of the NLL, was involved with the XFL, and they loved the way that they embraced that St. Louis embraced even the minor football league. I would love to see St. Louis or something in the middle of the country, get Indianapolis or something like that. But I've heard St. Louis for a while, and I'm wondering if it's ever going to happen.
Interesting to note, Mike. You've got some good points and a great show that you produced over the course of the last couple of years. This is season number 3. And again, for our listeners on WGR Sports Radio 550, Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern. And again, Mike, what platform do they go to? And it's pretty easy to access, right?
Yeah, it's awesome. You can go on Twitter Daily Dive LAX, we're always retweeting it, but it comes from 12 Ounce Sports, which is numbers 1, 2 letters OZ Sports. You can look them up on YouTube, and you'll see like a white background with like a blue logo. And that YouTube channel is definitely the easiest way to watch the show.
Mike, we're going to put pressure on you right now in the second half. We always crystal ball with our guests. What do you think will happen between these two clubs, and who will be the hero, whether it's Buffalo or Toronto?
I really been a fan of Dane Smith this year, scoring goals. Even though he said in the pregame on PSN that he was going to rely on his teammates. I like it to be a slow second half of just methodical offense. I think Bandits win like 12-11. I think Dane Smith is the winner. He's going to be the star of the show in the second half as always.
Good call, Mike. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys, and we've got to have you guys on the show again as well.
Mike Gavalis of the Daily Dive, our halftime guest live via the Nissan hotline. We'll be back with quarter number 3 after this.
So, I want to, again, thank the whole crew, from producer Trevor, that sounds like sacrilegious, and John Gertler and Steve Bermel, and the Bandits and WGR, the whole crew. That was awesome. That was so fun. It was surreal. I tried to give the credit where it was due for other people, just so you know. And by the way, Pat Gregoire said, John Gertler for the Tom Borelli Award in 2025. It's long overdue. The legend should be honored. I agree with that, but as we've heard on this show, and I'm sure he's told other people, he don't care about that thing. And it's humbling because the person who has been vocal saying, I wouldn't mind getting it. It's like, if John Gertler doesn't care about it, why should I? He's focused on bigger and better things. But Pat Gregoire, I do agree they should honor him at some point. That's the show. And wow, was it fun. Again, Steve Bermel's on the show tomorrow. You heard him in that radio call. And we'll milk the Bandits and rock more and the Bandits in general. But we want to thank you once again for joining this show. Whether you're loyal, whether you're new, and going to become loyal, you're awesome. Thank you. You're the bread. You're the butter. You are the John Gertler to my Steve Bermel. I don't know if that's a thing, but I just made it a thing. For everyone that comes on the show as a guest, like Joe Zateritz and others, Pat, Adam, etc., and for those that have me on as a guest, thank you for sharing your audience with us, getting us for Lunar Team relevance, and I guess me sharing mine with you. I'm just kidding. That's not a thing just yet. But thank you so much for that. We want to also thank you to Bigo, who's always dialing up on social media. Shout out to the Albany Firewolves. And for the baddest daddy in producing history, producer Joe, I'm your host, Mike, taking it all in, saying we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, 12 on Sports. This has been Daily Dive. Have a good one.
I will never pull on a man when he's down, but I will be the person to lift him up. And now he has to overcome another obstacle. So I'm going to support him. I'm going to lift him up, and I'm going to be there for him. Because
Thanks for watching Daily Dive. See you next time.